Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. The Table Tennis World Championships kick off on the red tables of Doha on the 17th of May, but who will be our next men's and women's world champions? So I'm going to make my predictions, ultimately so that you can tell me how wrong I was afterwards. I'm going to start with the women's singles. Who would I like to see do well? Obviously, from a nationalistic perspective, I'd like to see Anna Hersey do well. She's slowly creeping her way up the world rankings and she's fresh off a victory in Manchester. Unfortunately, though, she's going to face Wang Yidi in the round of 64 if she gets through the first round, so probably not going to progress that far. But she's still very young and hopefully it'll be a great experience for her. I would also like to see someone from the Arabic-speaking world do well. It is the Qatari World Championships, so some regional interest is probably good for the sport. So someone like Hannah Goda, I'm hoping she can have a good tournament. I feel like she's overdue a strong major tournament. Still very, very young though. So maybe a quarterfinals for her would be deemed a success. Right then, let's have a look at the big girls who do actually have a chance of picking up the ultimate crown. I'm going to start with the Chinese players, only very, very briefly. It's a bit boring. China's good and you know that. Sung Ying-sha in particular is incredible. She'll be defending her victory from 2023. She's fresh off winning the World Cup and she doesn't have Chun Meng there to spoil the party. And she'll be backed up by Wang Manyu, Wang Yidi, Kuai Man, all great players as well with a chance of winning. But let's not discuss that too much. You know that. Who could upset the Chinese party? Well, we've got to look at the Japanese players, and they've got quite a few strong players in their stable. Obviously, Hina Hayata, Miwa Harimoto, Mihu Hirano, I always say that name wrong, and Mima Ito, Satsuki Odo as well. Mima Ito had a good World Cup, and historically, she had a great record against the Chinese players. That has dropped off, and generally her form has dropped off, but she's still really, really young. And the same with Mihu Hirano. It feels like they've been around forever, but what are they still, like 24, 25? Maybe not even that. Do I, though, think that a Japanese player can be the next women's world champion? Unfortunately, I don't. So, who could defeat the Chinese players? I made a prediction back in November time or so that I think a North Korean player is going to be the next women's world champion. And I'm sticking with my North Korean girlies. We've got Pyeongsun Jong. I'm probably pronouncing that totally wrong, but PSG, as I'm going to call her. She had a strong Paris Olympics, got knocked out in the quarterfinals by Hina Hayata, and she had a strong Asian Championships. She will actually face Sung Ying-sha in the round of 64. Is that a potential banana skin for Sung Ying-sha? PSG is a very, very strong player. Ultimately, we don't know how good she is because we just see so very little of her. I don't think, unfortunately, she is going to beat Sung Ying-sha. It would be great if she could. It would really open up the tournament. It would make things very, very interesting. But there is a North Korean player who I do think could be our next women's world champion, and that's Kim Kam-young. She won the Asian Championships. She defeated Sung Ying-sha in one of the team matches at the Asian Championships. She got a silver medal in the mixed doubles at the Paris Olympics. And she plays with a style that has upset a few of the Chinese players. She's got long pimples on the backhand, very close to the table. I'm going to say it. I'm sticking with my choice that I made back in November. Kim Kam-young is our next women's world champion. She'll probably get knocked out in the first round, but I'm sticking with it. Kim Kam-young, this one's yours. Okay, so let's have a look at the men's singles, and it is very, very interesting. We possibly have one of the most open men's singles world championships we've had in a long, long time. Now, there has been some sensational stuff written online about how the Chinese men's team is in some sort of crisis. Now, that's kind of ridiculous, but China has lost in quick succession the greatest player of all time in Ma Long and possibly one of the greatest players of all time in Fan Zhendong. They've lost them in quick succession. And that is going to leave a hole. And it really does open up the championships. Let's have a look at the Chinese players first, though. They still are the number 1 and 2 in the world. So we've got Lin Shidong, incredible last 6 months, but he is only still 19. He doesn't have a huge amount of experience. So there is a vulnerability there and a lot of pressure on him because the number 2, Wang Chuqin, he's the most successful player in the world table tennis era, at least in number of tournaments won. But there is a lot of question marks about his mentality. He seems to crumble in some of those key moments. But let's park the Chinese players for a moment. I will come back to them. So who else has a chance of winning in Doha? First of all, we have to mention Hugo Calderano. Winning in Macau at the World Cup. It was just such a dream run, beating all the best players. There was no fluke about it. He played some incredible table tennis. And that's got to give him a lot of confidence. So he has to be in the hat. We can't ignore Hugo Calderano at this World Championships. Who else are we looking at? Harimoto. Has his time come? He had a great Olympics, really. In reality, he only narrowly lost to Fan Zhendong, and that was a Fan Zhendong in some incredible form. So Harimoto, he's got to be in the picture. And I know I'm biased, but I love Felix Lebrun. Apologies for the pronunciation of the name to the French fans out there, but the kind of energy that the Lebrun brothers have brought to table tennis, I absolutely love it, and I absolutely love Felix Lebrun. And I do think he is a genuine contender. Do I think he's my favourite? No, I'll come back to that in a moment. And who else is there? Patrick Francisca, Lin Wenru. I'm sure there's some names I've missed out, but I have to pick one person. I can't dilly-dally, I can't sit on the fence. And I am actually going to pick Wang Chuqin as my prediction to win the men's singles. I think his time has come. He's still possibly the best player at this tournament on paper. Just there are the question marks about his mentality. So there we have it. There are my predictions. Kim Kung-yong and Wang Chuqin are our next world champions. Let me know if you agree. You probably don't. Let me know who I've missed out. There's definitely someone I'm overlooking. So yeah, there we go. On a personal note, I am actually going to be abroad during the whole of the World Championships. So I don't know how much of the World Championships I'm actually going to be able to watch, which is a shame. I'm going to try and watch as much as I can. So this is a small plea to my wife. Let me watch some of it if I can. I don't know about the times. So there we go. The World Championships. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing how wrong I am.